Welcome back, everybody. It took a bit longer to get this video out because I've been out of town since Friday, so I haven't been able to work on anything. But I got home today and my new microphone finally arrived in the mail, so now audio will be a bit higher quality than previous videos. Anyway, let's get into the video. Today, I'm going to go over the F4E Phantom II. The F4E is a rank 7, battle rating 11.0 fighter. It has the ability to carry 8 air-to-air missiles, 4 of them being AIM-7E2s and 4 AIM-9Js. It also comes with an internally mounted M61 Vulcan cannon, which honestly gets me more kills than the missiles a lot of the time. The AIM-7E2 is a pretty good missile, but it's sort of hindered by the F4E's radar. It is very susceptible to ground clutters, so it's almost impossible to get a lock when your target is below you unless the conditions are perfect. A lot of the time, even if you do get a lock, it won't maintain for more than a couple seconds. If the target is above you, it locks and tracks okay, but the radar is also pretty easily fooled by chaffs, so the enemy has to be not paying attention for your AIM-7 to hit. The AIM-9J, however, is an alright missile. It pulls a good amount of Gs, has decent range, and isn't as susceptible to flares compared to something like an R60. I wouldn't say it's the best IR missile at top tier at all, but it's definitely usable. And then finally, there's that sweet M61 Vulcan. The Vulcan is probably my favorite gun at top tier. It has a very high rate of fire, very high bullet velocity, and very good range. All of those characteristics making it very easy to aim. Like I said a second ago, I think I get more kills with the Vulcan than with the missiles a lot of the time. Now, the F4E has the Agile Eagle upgrade, which basically just means it gets leading edge slats on the wings, making it a whole lot more maneuverable than other Phantoms in game, and it completely changes how you use this aircraft. Let's compare it to the F4J Phantom. The F4J is obviously also a Phantom, but the tactics for using the F4J are completely different than the F4E. I made a video on the F4J not too long ago, but in a nutshell, it's kind of just a missile dispenser. It has a pulse Doppler radar and AIM-7Fs, which allow you to use it as a missile dispenser from long range without really having to dogfight the enemies. Now the F4E, on the other hand, because of the Agile Eagle and the lack of a pulse Doppler radar, you are much more capable playing aggressively and getting into some dogfights, which in my opinion makes it a much more fun aircraft to fly. However, with the missile meta, I tend to play better and more consistently with the F4J. To be honest, I don't really have a set early game tactic. Sometimes I rush, sometimes I stick with my team, and sometimes I'll sit around the outside of the fight and try and pick off stragglers. Anyway, I am going to show you a quick match. Alright, so nothing really crazy happens this match, but it's a solid 5-kill game that really showcases the F4E's ability to play aggressively. And I actually think I get more kills with my Vulcan than I do my missiles. And that's kind of another reason I want to show this match. So, my first target is going to be this Mig23 MLD. Throw a few Vulcan shots at him and that's going to end up for my first kill. I immediately set my sights on the Mig27, but then I looked to my left and noticed a lot more enemies that direction, so that's probably where I needed to go. So I start heading that direction. An F4E ends up kind of in front of me. I think he was going for this base bomb run, so he's going to present himself as an easy target. Take a few shots, but unfortunately none of them hit. I was going to fire off an AIM-9J, but I fumbled my keys. So then I just spray some more Vulcan shots at him. And that's going to be my second kill. And then a Mig27 crosses right in front of my vision, so I'm going to quickly get behind him. Start following him, and then I notice a Jaguar coming right for me. Considered taking the head on, but decided not to. Spray a few shots, unfortunately no hits. And then my pilot blacks out, but no big deal. Mig27 kind of goes straight while I'm blacked out, but as soon as I regain consciousness, he's going to turn left. As soon as he does that, I'm going to send a burst his way, and that's going to end up my third kill. So I look behind me, there are a couple Jaguars around, so I'm going to go try and get one of them. Set my sights on the one going high, shoot a missile off thinking he was focused on the F4E, but he was actually paying attention and he flares off my AIM-9J. So I was planning to switch my sights on the Jaguar low to the ground, but my brain couldn't decide which one I wanted to go for. And if I would have just stuck with the Jaguar I fired the missile at, I probably would have saved my teammate in the F5C. About to line up a shot on this Jaguar, but he kind of does a little maneuver and I couldn't get my guns on target. So I start turning down and around. Like I said, that F5C goes down, but that was probably completely preventable. Get my AIM-9Js warmed up, fire one off at him, and this time he's actually not paying attention to me, so it's going to result in my fourth kill. Could have been 5 right here, but I completely whiff an easy shot on the other Jaguar. But my teammate gets him anyway, so no harm done. So now I level out and start heading to the remaining enemies. I notice a Mig27 coming to my direction, so I'm going to head his way, considering he's the closest enemy to me. I was expecting him to go head on with me, but he did not. I believe he was going on a bombing run as well, like the other guy from earlier. Get some shots off with the Vulcan, and that's going to set him on fire. Then I fire off an AIM-9J just to ensure no one else comes and takes the kill. So that's going to be my 5th and final kill of this game. My teammates end up finishing off the remaining enemies, and that's going to win us the match. Now with the F4E's more aggressive fighting style, a lot of the time that means you're taking a lot more risk in these fights. I honestly feel like I can rack up kills faster in the F4E than the F4J, but I also feel like I die a lot more in the F4E just because of that aforementioned risk. But that also could just be my skill issue. Oh yeah, and one more thing about the F4E that I don't think I mentioned this far, is that when you're running low on fuel and you don't have many missiles left, this thing, its flight model is super powerful. Like, it just becomes so much better when you don't have a bunch of weight weighing you down. But in top tier gameplay, it's pretty rare that you actually get in a one-on-one dogfight with an enemy. So the majority of the time, it doesn't even really matter that much. But in that rare occasion that you actually get in a one-on-one dogfight with an enemy, most of the time you'll have the upper hand. Even going against something like an MLD, if you're a pretty good player, you might actually win that fight, when that's not really possible in a lot of the other Phantoms, especially if the MLD pilot is good. So the F4E, in my opinion, is the most fun Phantom in War Thunder, but it definitely doesn't fit the meta 100% like the F4J does. That said, it is still very strong the way it performs right now, and to be honest, it's a nice break from having to rely mainly on finicky radar missiles. I imagine there are many players out there that are extremely good at using the F4E, and I would love to see how a good F4E player would stack up against a Mig23 MLD. What do you guys think about the F4E? I'd love to hear how you feel about it. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with that. Leave a like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Peace.